really look forward to talking with you, as there is so much to get into, as there always is. You can follow me on Twitter at Lock It Up Media. That's Lock It Up Media on Twitter. And wherever you get your podcast, we're there. You can find us. Just type in the Lock It Down Sports podcast. We're right there. Easy to find. Any big platform, we are there. Like I said, so much to get into. But first, let me tell you about my friends at Stream Studio. It's a multi-camera live streaming platform that allows you to go live in less than 1 minute. It's a video podcasting live webinar streaming platform that allows you to stream to multiple platforms at the same time. Now, like I said, we're going to get into the World Baseball Classic, and boy, oh boy, has that been a fun and a blast to watch and enjoy for sure. We're talking about the Bears. That's right, the Chicago Bears making moves. Of course, we're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers and that whole doozy of a situation. We're going to get into the Big 12. And then, of course, the NFL calendar. It's year-round. It really is, even outside of the Aaron Rodgers news. But the fact that Super Bowl ends in February and it's March, we're still talking about it. You had the combine earlier on. You've got pro days going and coming up later. And of course, you've got NFL free agency signings, tradings, tampering periods, that all going on right now. And then coming up, you get the draft. And then you have OTAs. And then you blink and you're at preseason games. You're like, whoa, what year-round thing? And it's really their goal. And it's incredible what they've done, how they've created and structured their NFL calendar, really, of news and events going on to make you continue to be interested in their product and what they're about and what they bring. Now, like I said, Aaron Rodgers goes on this dark retreat, you might want to call it, and he's trying to decide what he wants to do. Is he going to play football? Is he going to retire? Is he going to try to get traded out of Green Bay? Well, I'm sure you've seen the news by now. Once he get traded to the Jets, he's came out and said on the Pat McAfee show this week, I want to be traded to the New York Jets. I don't feel the love. I don't feel I'm being appreciated anymore in Green Bay. Interesting enough. I mean, not interesting enough, but just the fact that obviously he's still under contract for the Green Bay with the Green Bay Packers. So, of course, they're going to have to trade him. I mean, right now, there's really no rush for Green Bay to trade him in March, obviously. They can wait a little bit closer to the draft. Maybe another team ends up being interested. At this point, Rodgers said he wants to be traded. Yeah, he wants to be traded to the Jets, but if you get a better offer from another team, you know what? Shove it, right? Yes, there has to be some teams have to be able to bring him in because of their cap situation, no doubt. But I get it. They want fair compensation for him. They want a first-round pick plus. And that would be my exact request as well. Give me a first-round pick plus. Now, what that plus is, I would venture to guess it's a second or third. So a minimum, a first, and let's just say a third. Maybe you can then get like a sixth or seventh round pick as well, a later round draft pick and add. But a first plus is without a doubt what I would expect them to get, and Green Bay as well, because they got a little bit more. They have less leverage with Rodgers coming out and saying, "Hey, I want to be traded." But let's say with the Jets here. If he ends up being traded to the Jets. They have the cap space. They do. So that part's taken care of. Yes, you got to finagle it one way or the other, but they've got the cap space. Now, when it comes to the trading aspect, I feel like if you're going to make a trade with the Jets, it's got to be before the draft. Why? They've got the 13th pick in the draft this year, the Jets do. With Aaron Rodgers and a pretty solid team around them, you'd venture to guess that they would have a lower pick next year. So if they traded him after the draft, they would potentially get, in theory, a 20s or later pick, which isn't going to do them. It's still a first round pick, but they could have gotten it sooner. A better quality player in the as a 13th overall pick instead a later round pick, which of course that's what the thought process is. So they do need to trade him before the draft if it is to the Jets. And really to any team, honestly, if they say screw it, Rodgers, you want to be traded, that's fine, but you might not get to go to the Jets because we've got a better offer somewhere else. Yeah, it's your franchise quarterback, but you've already kind of ticked him off before when you drafted Jordan Love without consulting him or potentially getting him an offensive weapon at that time. Instead, you draft a potential quarterback to build for the future to replace him. So that pissed him off, kind of hurt the relationship with Rodgers in the franchise in Green Bay. So why not just say, you know what, screw it. We've got to do what's best for our franchise and our organization. We get better offers from somewhere else. Sorry, you're not going to the Jets. Of course, a lot of that comes with teams that can take on the money, as he owed $108,800,000+ in 2023 and 2024. So he's got $59.515 million due this year. So teams are, of course, going to have to adjust for their cap space. They want to bring him on. Jets don't have a quarterback. They've got the cap space. So that's the match right there. Now it's a wait and see game, a game of chicken to see who blinks first, what the offer is, where they're going. The NFL never ceases to amaze me of the kind of drama, exciting drama that takes place and transpires even in an NFL year-round calendar when it's talking about trades and signings. Something like this pops up and it's gold. It's great. Something else that has been very great and something it's been fascinating and enjoyable to watch. World Baseball Classic. I've loved it. I was so happy when they first came out and started doing it. And it's just continued to be a great thing and a great fit and an event. Anyone that tells you otherwise, I don't think is actually watching, caring, or paying attention. And yes, people want to moan, groan, and complain. There's been some media people that have come on and said, I can't believe Edwin Diaz, the closer for the Mets, got injured in a meaningless exhibition game in the World Baseball Classic. If you missed it, when he closed out the game for Puerto Rico, he got injured. He injured his leg celebrating. That's right, celebrating after a victory for them to move on to the next round. Terrible injury, going to be out for the year. People are pissed about it. Media members coming out and saying, it's pointless. Why are we playing a World Baseball Classic? It doesn't matter. Nobody cares. Look, first off, let me address something else. Freak injuries can happen anywhere on and off the field. A few years ago, Mike Soroka was a stud. 2 great years in the big leagues. Tore his ACL walking in the clubhouse. Players get hurt in spring training. Chipper Jones, way back when, tore his ACL playing in a meaningless, shall I say, spring training game. Case in point, earlier this year, this spring training, Gavin Lux, out for the season, tore his ACL, running the bases in a what? That's right, a meaningless spring training game. It can happen to anybody, anywhere, any place. Talking about freak injuries and accidents, I didn't know this until I saw this on Twitter. Funny enough, you know what the New York Mets did in spring training last year? They practiced celebrating, winning the World Series, jumping up and down, dancing, celebrating. One of those players could have gotten hurt celebrating, throwing their glove up in the air, jumping around, rolling an ankle, turning a knee on the land. They didn't do the dog pile, I don't think, but they might have. I don't know. But I just saw the video of people jumping up, dancing, throwing their gloves in the air. Someone could have torn an ACL celebrating. No, that would have been a freak, weird accident that didn't even happen in play. Just look. If you've watched a game, any games, players care about the WBC. It's good for baseball, internationally and Major League Baseball as a whole. Crazy enough, more people watch the Japan-Korea game than the World Series. So the other question, when should it be played? It's tough. There's not really a great time for any of these games to be played, but this one fits. This time, to me, it fits. I mean, every team has pitching restrictions, the same pitching restrictions of pitch counts. 65 pitches, this runs up to 95 pitches. Because their goal is to get ready for spring training. That's what part of this is. It's a competitive environment and atmosphere getting ready for spring training. Case in point, look at the Team USA. Their pitching staff, there's not a single ace on the pitching staff, especially in the starting department. Yeah, there's good relievers and closers, no doubt. That's a little bit easier. Come in, be lights out for an inning. You know you're going an inning and that's it. Starters, you're going 3, 4, 5 innings to continue to build up your arm strength and stretch it out. There's not an ace on the Team USA starting wise. Yeah, position players are absolutely stacked. Not on the starting staff. Okay, Locke, let's play it around the All-Star break. Another tricky instance there. Some players that might really want to play are going to be hurt before the All-Star break. They're eliminated. Would a player want to really sacrifice their All-Star break every 6 years? Maybe, but that's a 3 days off and a fun but yet relaxed, not as stressful environment in the All-Star game. Or maybe you have the All-Star game, then the World Baseball Classic. I mean, yes, there's also money tied to this. In the All-Star game, if this were to replace the All-Star game. If it goes after the All-Star game, okay, a little bit different. But if it replaced the All-Star game, what if a player's like one-time All-Star? For an example, I can just think of two Braves off the top of my head. Johnny Venters, a one-time All-Star, stud, having a great year as a middle reliever. And Omar Infante, who would have ever expected him to be an All-Star? You see this pop up where we're like, oh, this reliever having a great year. Let's invite him to the All-Star game. And a lot of times, they absolutely deserve it. And it's not even a closer that might be an All-Star. It's a middle reliever, which is that's hard to do and hard to earn for those guys. A lot of times in players' contracts, you receive X amount, $100,000, $200,000 bonus to be an all-star. Same thing, home run derby. They're now Major League Baseball is giving away $1 million for someone who wins the all-star, the home run derby. They're not playing the World Baseball Classic for money. They're playing it for that thing across their chest, their country. Team Puerto Rico, Team USA, Team Dominican, Team Venezuelan, Team Japan. They love it. They're passionate about their country. And I don't think you can do it after the World Series either, because it would be players still having to ramp back up or just continue to throw competitively and swing competitively after the game. I mean, after the World Series, if you don't make it to the playoffs. It's not a really good time, but I do think this is the best time in the most structured fashion and way. Before we get into the Big 12, let me tell you about my friends at Stream Studio. It's a multi-camera live streaming platform that allows you to go live in less than 1 minute. It's a video podcasting live webinar streaming platform that allows you to stream to multiple platforms at the same time. Now, when I saw this, what the Big 12 was doing, I liked it. They're going to have a pro day, conference-wide pro day at Cowboys Stadium. So basically, this is going to be a combine for the Big 12 conference. If I'm the NFL, it's kind of put on and partnered with the NFL, so of course they're going to be all for it. But they've got to love it because NFL coaches, scouts, front office, they can all go to Dallas, Cowboys Stadium, one time, or maybe it's 2 times. I don't know. They haven't said. Maybe it's 3 days, a 3-day event, and go watch these teams as opposed to hopping pro day, going to Waco, then going to Oklahoma, then going to Texas, then going up to Texas Tech. They're there. Maybe it's a 1-day thing. Maybe it's a 2-day thing. You divide, okay, 6 schools here, six schools this day. But it would be easier to do it because you're gonna obviously left less kids at their pro days. So I love it. I like it. I think it's smart. And of course the NFL loves it because they get to put it on NFL Network and broadcast it. And it's footage for them, live action footage during their off season to get more eyeballs on instead of talking about schools, teams doing hypotheticals in the off season. Now, I don't see the SEC or the Big Ten doing something like this right away. Get know why? I still think those conferences want the power to control things their own way, and hopefully, the NFL partnership will allow each individual school to run the pro day how they want to. The drills, the steps, the flow of it, the script should be how the kids doing the pro day and the schools want to lay it out. Same thing here, SEC, Big 12, Big 10. They're the 2 most powerful conferences. They're still going to drive things. They want to control their thing. Now, if it becomes a norm, if it becomes highly successful, I can see them doing it eventually, but not initially. I mean, obviously some obvious landing spots for other conferences. The SEC, I mean, you get obviously the Atlanta, right? Mercedes-Benz, it's a dome, controlled environment, don't have to worry about the weather. That's why the ACC as well. You can't go to, I wouldn't say Charlotte because it could be cold that time of year. Miami, maybe with the rain, dealing with the rain. Temperature is probably going to be fine. But I think the ACC fits in Atlanta as well for their pro day. Yes, it's not um, common for them to play in Atlanta based on obviously their ACC championship game is not in Atlanta. But for a situation like this, I think Atlanta is a great fit for them. Controlled environment, obviously, with their retractable roof. For this, the roof would obviously be closed. Big Ten could be very hairy weather. Yes, a lot of these schools do them in the indoor practice facility, obviously. But to me, it would have to be back in Indy or maybe do it in Detroit. They've got a dome there as well. Do it in Detroit. I mean, Pac 12, I mean, you get a bunch of easy options. Rather do it in Vegas, where, of course, the Raiders play, or do it where the Rams play in LA. So I think those are two easy ones as well, centrally located ish. And I'm not going to say Phoenix and Tempe, Arizona. I mean, we've seen the slippage and the problems with the footing. That's the last thing you want to deal with when it comes to a pro day receivers trying to cut on routes and them slipping because of field issues on one of their most important days, their pro day. So I like it. It'll be fun to see if other conferences kind of pick up this model and start doing it. Now, talking about doing it and making moves, that's the Chicago Bears making a trade with the Carolina Panthers, trading the number one overall pick, which means obviously they're locked in with Justin Fields as their guy. You saw Fields progressively get better the last handful of weeks of the season, kind of structuring that offense around him. They believe him. They believe in him, not giving up on him after just 1 year. And in return, they get a stud receiver in DJ Moore. The ninth pick, so obviously they swapped first for the ninth. And then they get a 61st pick in this year's draft, which is a second rounder. And then they get a 2024 first and a 2025 second. It's a nice haul. So you get two first, two seconds, 1,000-yard receiver who has 3 more years on his contract. They get some now immediate help in DJ Moore, another offensive proven receiver to build around with Justin Fields. So it's a nice haul for them. And Carolina gave up a lot. They did, but also they didn't if they make it right. If they get their pick, it doesn't matter what they gave up. But they have to get this right. Whether it's Stroud, your guy, or Bryce Young, or Anthony Richards for some reason, he's got all the physical tools in the world. We've seen that. What he's done at the combine. Outrageous, physically gifted quarterback. Accuracy and on the field play, a little questionable. Or whether it's Will Levis. I mean, that's obviously your 4 quarterbacks of what they're, your top 4 quarterbacks. But this has to be your guy for the next 10 years, your franchise quarterback. You have to hit. You don't want this to turn into being a NFL average quarterback. Say, for an example, like a Kirk Cousins. Fine, average NFL quarterback. You would hate to give up that much for a quarterback like a Kirk Cousins. I would be thoroughly disappointed if that were the case. If I was Carolina, I traded all that and I get an average quarterback. This has to be your franchise. You have to hit. Now, there's some rumors earlier in the week that they don't know their quarterback yet. who they like, the direction they want to go, where they're at. I don't buy that. Why do you make the trade all the way from 9 to 1 if you don't know who you're going with? Yes, they say, hey, I might trade back. You give up all that equity and you don't know who you're going with. I don't buy it. And I think they're just kind of throwing that out there in the media to get that circulating, to get that reporting of what's going on, where they're going, see if there's any interest. But really, just circulate rumors. Really, all I think it is, and that's really it. So, Carolina, you're now on the clock. What you doing? Where you're going? We'll find out on draft day. Now, the Masters coming up in April. Everybody knows that if you've been watching any March Madness, it's a promo they've run for ever and continue to do that. The menu came out from Scotty Scheffler, Masters menu, where they get to pick what they want for their dinner. He chose cheeseburger sliders, served Scotty style, whatever that means, firecracker shrimp with Thai chili and sriracha mayonnaise. And he also chose tortilla soup with avocado, crispy blue tortilla strips, sour cream, cilantro, and lime. Good starters. His main course is a Texas ribeye steak or black and red fish. I mean, that would be an easy choice for me, obviously, the black and red fish. I'm also going family style mac and cheese, jalapeno cream corn, fried Brussels sprouts, seasoned fries. Also, for dessert, warm chocolate chip skillet cookie. So milk, cookies, ice cream. Sounds good. They said it's a very very Scotty Scheffler style meal. Nothing extraordinary out of the realm of what he would do. Now, if you ask me, what am I doing? What's my meal? I'm a seafood fan, so it'd be a heavy seafood type meal. So my starter would be like a crab cake. No, not crab. Like a crab and lobster bisque. With some onions, maybe some spring onions, all mixed up. Maybe you drop a little potato in there, maybe not. Actually, probably not potato because we got potatoes coming up. So a crab lobster bisque mix, and then also a seafood platter. So shrimp, oysters, bay scallops, all out there and available on a seafood platter to munch on while they get ready for the main course. Now, main course, give them two options. Give them a little bit of filet mignon. If they don't like seafood, give them a steak option. I think everyone would like filet, I would think. Go with mac and cheese and a potato. Now, I haven't really you can't just do like a standard baked potato. So if I ever won the Masters, I would come up with a potato recipe, kind of look up, not necessarily cream potato, maybe cream potatoes, probably not cream potatoes either, but like a spicy potato on the skillet type mixed sort of thing is probably the direction I would go with the filet. Or my choice would also, the other option would be grouper. That's what I would go with. A grouper, and let them choose whether it would be fried, blackened, or grilled, or boiled on the skillet. It's the Masters. It's top chefs. Let all the members choose what kind of grouper and how they want it cooked. Then I would go a little bit of cheese grits because who doesn't like cheese grits? Maybe I would add a few shrimp in there. Maybe I would just see how I was feeling on the day, but it would definitely be cheese grits involved for sure. Fried onion rings probably. And then another style of seasoned potato. Haven't quite fully developed yet, the direction of the potato, I would go. And then for dessert, I mean, cheesecake, right? Clears the palate a little bit from the heavy steak or the grouper, the mac and cheese, a nice cool cheesecake to top it off. That would probably be like my prison meal too, as my my last meal if I was going to be on death row as well. You get that one last meal, that would probably be it. So why not make it my master's meal as well? As always, you can follow me on Twitter at Lock It Up Media. That's Lock It Up Media on Twitter. Wherever you get your podcast, we're there. Talk to you next week. This is Locke Hoover from the Lock It Down Sports Podcast.